last week in Rize, who, a housewife, she helps provide for her family. I'm very interested in the topic that you raised, the idea of missing women who do contribute. Maybe we can talk about that later. But again, she contributes to her household. She provides to it by tailoring, by collecting tea from the tea plantation, and single-handedly she managed to organize protests on the Georgian borders and help save her husband. Maybe you've heard about this, but her husband was taken to prison by some sort of gang on the borders, and she managed to save her husband as well as other men by organizing protests, engaging the Turkish and the Georgian governments in this. So these women are there, and as Professor Toprak said, they are very much part and inherent of Turkish society and history. But reading the stories, especially in international media, most of the things being spoken about today is violence against women. And it's very alarming, it's very disturbing. And I think it's a good thing that we're hearing about this more. It means that it is good and it's bad. It's good in the sense that it means that people are speaking out more. The media is engaged with these topics. Civil society groups are talking about them. There is documentation. There's this very interesting web portal that I came across called Bianet, and another one that documents all the women who have been killed through domestic violence. It's like a monument, and it gives all the names. And I think these things are really important because people need to be engaged. So we're hearing about them, that's good. But it's also bad in the sense that there is a rise in violence against women in Turkey. And I don't say this and single Turkey out. It's a global issue. Women face violence and face discrimination throughout the world. In Turkey and throughout the region, there are women in all sectors of society, in all fields, including politics, like Professor Toprak. And it was very interesting to me personally to find that Turkey has one of the fewest percentages of female participation in politics, not globally, but in a region which is quite conservative, and that region is the Middle East. So countries like Egypt or Tunisia had more female participation. The point I'm trying to get to, and these are thoughts, again, as someone who follows the issues and someone who looks at things from the outside. These are my own thoughts, and I have to make this disclaimer. I'm not representing the place I work for. I am a journalist, but I don't speak on behalf of the place that I'm working for. And some thoughts came to my mind as I followed through these stories of so many women who had been raped or abused by their husbands, and nothing was being done about it. The case of Özgecan, it created a huge, everyone heard about it throughout the world, not just in Turkey, which again, I think is positive. I want to allude to a few points, not statistics. I think we've had a lot of statistics I don't want to repeat that. But what I picked up on as subcultures that seem to be endemic within Turkish culture, not just again Turkish culture, it's something that is probably regional and in many other countries, but I think they're important to stop at and consider as issues that need to be addressed by the society, by the government, by women's groups. One of them, and again, Professor Toprak had spoken about that, is the issue of shame or honor. There are, so many women who go to the police and they say, we need help, or they don't go to the police because they're afraid of shaming their family, or there was a study, I think, made by the UN recently of the number of women who have, in self-defense, killed their husbands. And when they go to court, they are afraid to speak about what has happened to them because it would shame their family. So they're sentenced to I don't know how many years without even talking about what has happened to them and that this has happened out of self-defense. And again, it's the issue of shame and honor. And this takes me to another subculture, which I think is important to address, which is the issue of a patriarchal society. And many times this this culture is justified through religion. I'm a Muslim, I'm a practicing Muslim, I wear the headscarf. And as far as I understand my religion as a Muslim, there is nothing in Islam which justifies this. On the other hand, completely, Muslims should be at the forefront of protecting women, and that's how it has been. You were saying that women, it's not a woman's job to clean and cook. I think that a woman does that out of feeling for her family, but even in religion, which again, so many men use in Turkey and in many countries, it's the woman's place to be in the house. When you look at many interpretations in religion, and I mean this is not about Islam and Turkey or anything, but many interpretations don't say this. It's like, this is something that she can do if she wants to. It's not her job to do that. So I think these issues really need to be addressed, because Islam does not say women should be violated, women should be discriminated, women should be protected, they should be honored, they should be treated well, and that's what religion says. I find it interesting, really, that a country like Turkey, which over the past few years, over the past 10, 20 years, it's advanced in so many ways. It's become a global leader economically. It's become a hub for tourism. Everyone wants to go to Turkey. Turkish culture has spread across the region. Everyone wants to know more about Turkey. And while that's happened, gender politics seems to be extremely stagnant. And that is not something that is within a certain economic group, or it's people from a certain education. It's not in the East. It's not among the suburbs. It's not among. It's a widespread issue. 40% of women in Turkey have been have experienced some sort of violence, domestic violence. So it's not something to be addressed. I mean, it's not to do because some people are a bit conservative, or some people are not educated. It's a wide issue that needs to be looked at. I'm gonna jump to a point which I think is very important, which has affected me as a journalist, or I see affecting journalists, and I think it affects women's issues very much. And that issue is how, I mean, there is a historical divide in Turkey between secularism and conservatism. It's an ongoing debate, and it's something that we spoke about in our interview. I interviewed Professor Benaz, and hopefully we'll have the interview out this week if you guys want to read it. But there is this ongoing debate about where this lies in a democratic society. Where is secularism? Where is Islam? Where are the freedoms? And what I have found disturbing at many times is that, for example, journalism should be put on a pedestal, or it's not involved in this debate. People from a certain background, everyone can have their biases, everyone can have their ideology, everyone can belong to a certain party, but that should not affect the objectivity of journalism. Many times you see that happening all the time in Turkey. People will report on an issue and attack a certain group of people because they hate them and they don't want them to represent them in politics, or for one reason or another.